Greetings and welcome to episode 9 of Lesbian Training for Men. The name of our episode today is No One Need Apply. As in our first episode of Lesbian Training for Men, There is Nothing Wrong with You, I found it important to bring up the topic of independence. Sometimes, and myself included, people think of independence as either Destiny's Child, independent women, or the independence of our country, or as we age, we want to have as much control over our environment as possible by being as independent as we can possibly be. And what I have to say, these are all important, including the Destiny's Child, independent women. But I would say that the independence is also something that has occurred to me lately, especially, that true liberation that expresses our freedom that we were born as means in part understanding that we are not dependent on anyone or anything for our happiness or our unhappiness. This serves us in multiple ways. One illustration I'll give is this. Growing up, I remember hearing the words, "You have to respect me," or "You have to respect them." This is different than showing respect or showing respect for them as a human. Indeed, there are people I respect, but when respect is demanded, what we find is that it is not really truly respect. Because if you can just order it like you order, say, Chinese food or a Jimmy John's sandwich, then how can it possibly be that which comes from the organic and spontaneous realization of someone having gained your respect for them? I do not believe it is an inauthentic expression of respect, because inauthentic doesn't even exist. There's only authentic. There's only the truth. There aren't gradations of the truth. There aren't gradations of consciousness. There's only us either waking up to the consciousness that is, or denying the consciousness that is, or having interaction with others to the degree that we actually can assess what our emotions and feelings are in regards to them. In this, there is a fabulous opportunity to not only discover how the deeper senses of how we relate to each other lead us to knowing whether we respect someone or not, love them or not, care about what happens to them or not, but this is in direct correlation to reflecting back to oneself, how to be in relationship with the self, so that one might ascertain the degree of self-respect that we have and the love and the self-care that we employ because of that. In these times where codependence seems to run rampant everywhere, I think it's important to talk about interdependence. Interdependence is vital. It's how we cooperate as a human race. It's how we do families and friendships and relationships everywhere. Codependence is the corrosion of those healthy interdependent relationships, leading to something that breaks down exponentially faster as time goes on, because there isn't a truthful understanding of the other person, of the other party, of the other team, of the other situation, so that there can actually be something of a foundation that is built on something solid, not on something that's an illusion because of what we heard it should be. And so the fear, although there's entire jukeboxes and songs on Pandora and iTunes and in movies and in soundtracks and themes for stories everywhere about how it is that we'll be happy when we find that one person or that one situation, and how we'll be equally as unhappy if we don't, and how our emotions will be doomed forever unless we can find someone to be as equally codependent as we desire. We can take a very wide berth of relief in knowing that the independently operating human alongside us, as we are independently operating, may come together in places that would before stay obscured, except for that now that we don't obligatorily act in our codependence that we knew, but have now moved into our genuine expression and the desire for a connection that is real and full spectrum to ourselves and to others. We don't find that unhappiness will not occur. And similarly, we will not find happiness itself to always be present or obscured from us. What we find is that the happiness and the unhappiness that we may come into from time to time will contain so much treasure in it because it will be filled with everything that has to do with us and not some illusion turned delusion, which always leads into a road of confusion and the self-fulfilling prophecy that we may hold sometimes about the abundance and availability of unhappiness. The tip of the day is to begin in the conversation with the self by self-validating what it is that we think and feel as a thought or a feeling, and then to understand that they are just that, thoughts and feelings. And as they are not pruned away or discarded because they don't fit the illusion that we've been told about, we are then free to have them take their place exactly where they belong and how we are to benefit from understanding what we think and feel before we move and act and create from a premise that would serve us well to be sure about. There may be some fear to regard ourselves and to see ourselves as we truly are. And indeed, there may be things that we just don't like about ourselves, per se. Yet there is no denying freedom's expression through the liberation of the self when we are truthful about what we see, thus creating the basis for all of the beauty that had previously been hidden.